Hey guys, this is Rachel Feldman, and I am extremely excited to be interviewing this amazing health coach, amazing woman, and somebody who is doing it. And what we wanted to deep dive and what we are going to deep dive into is some of that stuff that we as coaches, when we're seeing somebody successful, do not see. We don't see the hard work. We don't see going back to the drawing board. We think that it's just like they got the rule book, they got the blueprint, and that's not what building a business, let alone building a business in the health and wellness space, is all about. So I wanted to just introduce Katrina today. Can you tell everyone like your name and what you're about, and then we're going to dive into some key questions.
Absolutely. My name is Katrina Sequenzia, and I'm a certified health coach, and I have been actually a coach since 2011, but I've only been in the online space for about 18 months now, and I serve a very specific niche, and that is the faith-based niche. So I care for Christian women that are on a journey to get healthy, and so that's kind of where God has me.
So I love that. I think of when we first talked, and like, and you told me about yourself, and all I kept thinking, and I still always think, is building a business is not easy, but when we tap into story, I always say, like, it's niche, it's knowing their pain points. People aren't searching for solutions. They're searching for either where we were or where people that we know are struggling. But when there is that infusion of what I call like your soul, what sets you on fire, that soul niche, it doesn't even really become selling anymore. It's just then this matter of figuring out how to message properly. What are their pain points? So can you kind of take us a little back to that beginning? Like you said, the beginning of your coaching practice and what that looked like.
Yeah, I was in the very beginning, in 2011, I was a primarily in-person coach. And so I had a private practice and I did teachings locally and things like that. I'd actually stepped away from my practice to homeschool my children for a while. And in early 2017, we decided to resurrect it. When I say we, I mean my husband and I, because he's a really big part of what we do. And so it took like 6 months just to like start figuring out the online space. And then I just thought that I was just going to take what I had done offline and just easily put it online. And I thought I was going to be able to charge $3,000 for help, private coaching. I thought I was going to be able to, charge easily $500 for a group program. And so that's what I set out to do. I learned how to do a webinar. I learned how to, do all of that, and it took me months to figure it out. Right. So finally I go and I launch September. It was actually a year ago, September. And I launched my first webinar, had like 60 signups. I was so excited. We did Facebook ads, I didn't know what we were doing. Got Facebook ads, and we had one person sign up for my program that I was launching on that webinar, and it was a local friend of all things. So I felt bad.
You're like, all this money I spent for this
all this time. I'm like, this is not going to work. And so I did actually something in that moment. I got a little desperate, and I went to a blogging group that I was a part of, and there was a lot of Christian bloggers that were in there. And I said, hey, I'm doing this group program. Come join me if you want to maybe be an affiliate later. And I invited all these people. I had 60 people sign up for free for my group program because I was like, I just need a beta this. I need to figure this out. So I had one paying person and 60 free people. It was the best decision I ever made. But
why do you say that? Because we never talk about it, and this is, I think, the huge part. Like, we never talk about those things that make us say, oh my goodness, it's like, am I going to make this? But they're also the biggest teaching lessons.
Oh my goodness. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. And, I think you and I both follow James Wedmore, and he says, all the time, it's like, you either succeed or there's a lesson to be learned. Yeah. And I didn't know that in the beginning. I just, after that webinar and after I just licked my wounds, I was just like, this is awful. I happened to meet you during that period of time. And so, that was just where I realized, so much came to pass after meeting you. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned during that, after that time frame, not only was to how to execute an online program, which, I was very new to, but also I learned about that there's a period where people need to learn to like us, trust us, and know us. And I hadn't had that established. So there was no way that I could, really expect that somebody was going to, shell out $500 when I really hadn't established that credibility yet. And so even though I had been a coach for so long and I had such amazing success stories, but I think where, I decided that January was coming after that launch that I thought was a failure. And I was working with you and I was in your mastermind, and I was just, going back to the drawing board. I was going to do the same webinar and I was just going to try again. Right. And
that's the part that I love when you said, like, we think we are doing everything right. See, that's why it gets so discouraging. We're doing what everyone says.
Yes.
And it's like, do the challenge, do the webinar, get the Facebook ads. I mean, and you were a person that, like, you just owned that tech. You and your husband just were like, I'm making this our baby.
Yes.
But sometimes that's not. And I love, it's not just the whole piece of it. People, as you said, they need to know what you're about. They need to fall in love with you. It's not just an offering.
Right. Right. And I still, in that as I was leading up to that January launch, I still hadn't had it figured out, but my voice, I was learning to practice my voice. And it was you just, encouraging us, get on Facebook Lives and just start talking and sharing your story. And so I did. And it was amazing as people began relating to it. So my ideal client began relating to my story, but I still thought that my story was their story. So I still had some missing pieces even back then that I've come to learn so much more now, but went into January going, okay, I'm going to do this whole thing again. And my husband's looking at me going, time out, babe. We've been down
this road.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that we should do this group coaching thing again. And so he's like, what about a membership? I've been hearing about memberships and, you're a part of memberships. Memberships are working and we can do a lower priced option and it could just build our credibility from there. Yeah. And I was like, I resisted. I was like, no. And so finally I said yes. And so it was literally 2 weeks before we were launching. We did everything.
I remember.
Yes.
I'm getting everything done. I'm getting everything. But you were.
Yes. And the good thing is like, you were really like that. The jumping board was when I was in the membership and we were getting the free recipe, the menu plans and all of that. And then I used those menu plans and recipe plans as my content, but then I also purchased some of your courses to help me begin to develop that monthly content that I would drip and, or the weekly content at the time. And so we decided to do a 5-day challenge. And we ran Facebook ads right over New Year's, and we decided to put we thought was a lot of money towards it. Now we kind of laugh, but we had almost 1,000 people sign up for that challenge. People, people came in droves on the 31st, the 1st, and the 2nd. I mean, so like hundreds of people came in. I mean, it is truly our golden hour, that New Year's Day. But I
always say, stop your vacation. Literally, you should be working because everyone thinks it's nothing. But
oh yes. So I could write a whole book on it. But so we did the challenge. It was really good feedback from people. We started it the week after New Year's, so it was like the Monday after, and so the timing was everything. But I did a 5-day challenge, and I infused my voice into it. So as a faith-based coach, I had scripture in there. I had, just one of the days of the challenge was about our faith and everything. So we had. It was great success. It was like wild, like 500 comments a day. It was just crazy.
Right.
I was so insane. But I had no really launch plan afterwards. I was so exhausted. And I literally did, one video about it. I did one Facebook Live and a few emails, and I crashed like the night of cart close. And you were like, Katrina, do more lives. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm so tired. But we had a 5% conversion. So we had 50 people.
Unbelievable. I mean, two things. I do want you to go back because I know sometimes like I'll talk to somebody who really helped me along the way and they'll be like, you're forgetting this one part. Do you remember you and I getting on the phone and talking about actually the programs? We're like, well, I'm going to buy this program. And I said, and you're like, but this other one didn't work. And we talked not about even the program, because this is what I always say. People don't buy a program. I mean, even if you're niched down, they're buying you. And I said, what like really calls to you?
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think you got off that phone call, I remember, and you were like, that's it. I'm rewriting my whole website.
Yes.
And I just said, infuse you, because you had a sales page that was all you with
Right.
scripture and faith and belief. And yet none of it was on your site.
Right.
So I also think the part that when we're like so in alignment with who we're meant to serve, there is a confidence that just comes. You're like, I'm exhausted, I'm good, but like this is going. And
Yes.
it just puts that I can do it into the bank, and then you learn from it.
Yes. Learning is definitely the key word there. And that's where I went back to, in that time period, I went back to well, first of all, I did feel like I was in content creation mode. I did not know how to do a membership. I did not know, I thought I was just going to drip courses to them forever and amen. Right.
Yeah.
And I realized that was, it took me many, many months, but I spent many months after that going back into the drawing board, not only debriefing from that launch, which I found successful despite my, inadequacies, but
I wouldn't even say that, because what you even talked about earlier, and this is what I want the coaches who are listening, you saw that as, okay, it can be better. And what part did I not plan? Just like, that's why I always say, plan that 6 months, know what the goal is, know what the outcome is, know where you're going. So when you come out and you are tired, there's either that automation set up, or you're just like to everyone like, guys, okay, here we're going on to the next. And it's already set up because it was initially set up.
Yes. And I'm still learning that. So
that's practice. That's like when we say, oh, I birthed my first child naturally. And the second I knew what to do, and she was like, push. I was like, oh, I don't want to push. Like, you know how to do it. You know how to be pregnant. You know how to, but at every phase of a business, I really think is something new. Launching to me is like birthing. It's like going through a marathon. You have to really carve out your energy, and you have to really be able, as the market changes, as people change, as everything changes, be able to always go back to what you're saying, really what your people look for. So before we started recording, you said, I did this step. So I know that a lot of your success is not only because you're excited and you do, that comes, you can feel that, but it's also because you did dive so much into discovering what your people needed after that webinar didn't convert. So can you give coaches like, one, what you did, and maybe even another like strategy that kind of just helps you on a daily basis to tap back into that?
Yeah. And as far as really understanding my client, is that what you're asking, and getting into yeah. And so I continued the hard work, and it was, I was challenged by not only you, but others, of just really understanding who you want to serve. And so because I don't serve a specific ailment, I serve a specific population. So I serve the Christian community. And so I started with my local friends, here. And I just started saying, hey, get on a call with me and let me deep dive with you. I'm doing this experiment. And so, I deep dive with them, and I just ask them some really deep questions. It's what we do as coaches, right? We try to get down to the root. So, I was just basically doing a discovery call with everybody that would talk to me. And so I just was always looking for discovery calls just to really get to know them, because I had done it for years and years, but I never served the Christian community in this way. And so it's been a journey. And so I began to isolate 10 external challenges that my clients have. So, all of us, it doesn't matter the faith. It's like, weight loss and disease. Yeah.
Falling out, thyroid, hormone, like
relationship issues,
mindset, anxiety. Like I was just teaching today, and I was saying to them, I did it's so funny that you're saying this. I did 3 columns. I said, let's talk disease, mind and body. Now, like real diseases out of medical book. Now let's go to another column. What are the signals for those?
Yes.
I said, now let's go to the 3rd column. No matter what niche out there, everyone's still looking for the same problem. It's how you message to them from your heart and your soul.
Yes, exactly. And that's where I took it to that place where what are the internal struggles? And I knew that in the internal struggles, I would be able to start giving voice to the things that were inside them. And so I knew deep down, the women that I was began to understand that deep down, these women, although they wanted to lose weight and they wanted to get healthier and they wanted to do these things, it wasn't really what they truly wanted. What they're missing in their life was joy and happiness and peace. And so as I began to put words to those for them, and I began to share encouragement and share, mindset and spiritual and scripture and everything towards those things, I'm now talking to women who are in my program, and they're like, Katrina, it's like you've been in my head, and it's been what I've been saying to myself, the thoughts in my head for years, and you're speaking them.
But what I love that you just explained is it's not just saying they want happiness and joy. Right. Because we all, I think, no matter what faith, you and I have talked about this, right. We want peace. We right. want to feel good. We want to feel gratitude. We all by nature want those. But what I feel you did different, which was so pivotal, is that you gave a voice to what it looks like to either not have that and what it's going to take. Yes. Or the pain points that they felt that they couldn't even put into words. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And it's even coming to the point now where, I'm getting to that point going, guys, even this is, again, no matter faith-based or not, like that peace and that joy and that happiness is available to us now. And, we live in a culture now where we think that it's when we lose weight, when we get money, when I have 400 people on my membership, then I'll be happy.
Right, when my list is 7,000. Yeah.
Right. And so and really what it is, it's like, what I'm teaching them now is that we can choose joy and choose happiness and choose peace now. And from that, then we will lose weight. We will be able to, eat healthy and make good choices versus falling into our old habits. And so one of the biggest things with our last launch, I discovered, and I really realized that my clients' biggest pain point is sugar cravings. And so I used to think it was dieting. I thought that, diet roller coaster was their big, their big pain point, and that really wasn't it. So, I discovered, and it was through really interviewing and getting really deep with my people. And so they struggle with sugar cravings, and there's guilt around it, there's condemnation around it, and they know that if they could just get rid of it, right? And so that's where, and actually, Rachel, you were the one that told me that. And so, I used to always think that it was just like, oh, weight loss. And honestly, I don't really like weight loss. That's not really, weight loss is going to be a byproduct of you getting healthy, but it's not what drives me.
And also I remember, so it's interesting they said it, because I remember you and I were talking just like this. I was like, we were just gabbing away, and I'm just like, I'm vibing with her. But I remember saying, as we were talking, like I said, with everyone, what is the one thing they are literally struggling with? The one, and you're like, you know what? It's sugar. Yeah. It's literally sugar. And I think where I see coaches getting hiccuped is they're like, it's got to be the funnel, and it's only this, and it's only this. And if it's gut, I'm only speaking about gut. And if it's weight loss, it's like, no, you're actually speaking to human beings.
Yes.
Who have a myriad of different things. And I think what really worked with you, in just also in hindsight and just also knowing you as a person, is you gave yourself the room to literally marinate on not only did you like survey and figure out what was the thing that they needed, but like you took the time to really, deep dive into what was something that you also felt in alignment with too. Like as a woman, we're always like, we get stressed, sugar. We're overwhelmed, sugar. We have adrenal, sugar. Like sugar kind of was this core, like have the sweetness in your life.
Right.
But you don't need to fill it with this.
Right. Exactly. And they felt that too. And it was, and I think I struggled because I thought I really wanted to launch multiple times over this last year. And so not only was I building the foundation of a membership, but also really doing all that really hard work internally for myself, really understanding my members, serving them well, loving them well, and figured it all out. Because again, this was a beta. I didn't have any, I had one lesson ready when the program launched. And so, it was a lot of work. And I do other things in my life. I homeschool my children. I'm a wife, mother, all those things. And so I have very limited time, but I thought I should be so much further along. But I realize it's part of the journey. And so we launched this last time in we, instead of doing a 5-day challenge, which I really wanted to do, I decided to do product launch, formula launch. And so I did a 4-part video series this time. And so like, again, whole new learning curve, and it was a huge monster. Don't recommend it for anybody on their first launch at all. I don't even know if like this is only my like 3rd or 4th launch. I don't even know if I do it then again, but I learned so much. But we had another 5% conversion, and so now we know, as far as like going back to logistics, we know now that people came in to when they signed up for it was a what was it called? What did we call it? Conquer Your Cravings was the name of my 4-part video series. And the branding that I did was just very much faith-based. And so people were coming into my free Facebook group and they're like, I need to get rid of carbs and I want to do it God's way. And so they began I was like, oh my gosh, they're like putting the two together. They're getting what I'm saying. I can't
That's when the brand is so clear. I remember, many people who I know, they're always like, when your brand is clear, and that's not the logo, that's like
I have no logo.
Yeah, like I didn't start with a logo. That's why I'm always like, guys, stop. Spend the time like you have. Like that's why I said to you, I have to interview you, because it's spend the time on this stuff. We fall prey, even though look, I love Jeff Walker, I love James Wedmore. I mean, these are guys that I feel have Ryan Dice, they've been around. These are my and also James Wedmore spiritually. I mean, I don't know either of the other ones, but he's so just in touch with being in alignment. It's that you really also have to just know this is like a learning process. And I love what you also said about really knowing your bandwidth, knowing that the launch was not going to be knowing that the launch to the launch was not going to be it. Knowing that also, making sure that it always came back, like I said, to the people that you're serving.
Right. Absolutely.
So your success was, I'm like, oh, she was just about to tell me.
Okay. Yeah. So we had a 5% conversion on this last launch. And so we invited 30 new people joined the membership. And so, super excited about that. We have a closed model, so nobody can get in right now. And so we're in the middle of preparing for our January launch. So we're actually, now that we know our numbers, we know that it's successful, and with knowing how successful, January 1 is for us as health coaches, we're now prepared and feel I have systems in place now and all of that. And the messaging, that's the biggest thing. If I could encourage anyone, although we need to do the hard work, also beta-ing and launching is that's where I can't wait. We're going to be launching in January, and I'm going to spend probably every 2 months launching, because I just want to I just want to launch, because we have, now we have goals in where we're heading. But we're planning, our goal is that we invite 400 new members in January. And so we're setting up, I'm hiring social media managers, we're really getting customer service support and all of that. So we're setting things up to, to make this big. And that's the thing is so not only
to help people at such a deep level. I think that's the bigger part that I know with you is it comes from such a place where you want that person who feels alone. And that's, you were great with systems. You were great. You used Kajabi. I even was like, remember I said, oh my God, this looks gorgeous.
Yes.
But you still did the work that is necessary, because I've seen people with all of that lined up, and a launch manager and Facebook ads and everything, and still nothing happened. And I know your success, not only as your personality, but you believe it, you feel it, but also that you took that time to understand the pain points and really get just down and dig deep with each of those people. And that's something that is invaluable.
Yeah. And I think, what else comes from that too, is that the people that are in my program, that have come into my program, I adore them. It's, the first launch was great, but there were some people in there that really didn't fully line up with all of my beliefs. I had some people that kind of even headbutted on some things, and they eventually left the program. But this group that now has come in, because I did this, all this soul searching and all this, message alignment, the people that are coming in, they're coming in with a different mindset, and they're aligned with me, and they're like, it's like, I just talked to a woman who's in the membership, and she's like, Katrina, I love you. And I'm like, what is this? This is so awesome. Not to be loved, but to be understood.
No, but it's to be supported. And at the end of the day, that was your vision. Your vision was for people who were faith-based to have a place where they knew they could overcome and get through anything in their life with support and kick sugar cravings to the curb.
Yes, exactly. Now they are a little bit more on the, they have a little bit more emotional needs because they're very addicted to sugar. But they're seeing success in it. So I have discovered that I'm not a weight loss coach. I've just deemed myself the food freedom coach. It's just,
I love that. So you're like, I don't even need it. See, that's what I love when you go actually further than niche work.
Yeah.
Because at one point, it's just like, I said to a woman today who was like, well, I don't even know. I was like, you work with women who don't have a voice.
Right.
You give them a voice. You empower them. That's enough. The woman who needs to hear that to say, you have a voice. Whoever took it away, I'm here with you to take it back. I said,
right.
Could you say that's women empowerment? Or could you say, no, damn, my gut and my soul just spoke into my heart, and this is who I am deemed and meant to work with right now.
Right, exactly. And it's so cool when you find it. It's so cool when you find it.
Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I do want, just people to be able to check out your work. Maybe I know there are lots of health professionals, lots of wellness, corporate, everyone in the world who needs support. And if they are in alignment with exactly what you're doing, they most definitely need you. So can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Absolutely. My business name is Healthy Free Life. And so that's healthyfreelife.com, which my website's under construction, so don't mind the dust. And also on Facebook as well at healthyfreelife.com, and Instagram, kind of a sad page right now on Instagram, but I'm working on that as well.
I think you're doing great. I was going to say, sometimes we start dissing these things because
I know.
We're like, well, but this isn't here. It's like, but you've built a business, one that's sustainable, and one that you're also doing with your husband, and you're not like losing your mind. And I do think it's really important because you even said in the beginning, you're like, I paid the dues. I was exhausted. I felt fatigued. I felt wiped, but we do have to put in that hard work.
Yes.
If you really want to achieve your goals, you have to put in that hard work. And if you do it the right way, like you did, like really tapping just constantly into this message, and it won't then be for like 5-6 years.
No.
It will be a shorter time because you have worked smarter. Yeah.
Amen. I'm still trying to get there, but yes, that's the goal, is that this becomes easier because we all have bigger visions beyond this. So this is like, this is the membership's the foundation. And then from there, everything's, going to go.
But I think that's the BS that we're fed, the myth that, even in anybody in up-leveling or expanding, there's always going to be that perseverance time, I'm trying this and I don't know if it's working. And, I think that we often say, oh no, once you do this one thing,
right?
Because I've tried a lot of things and it has to feel right for me.
Yes.
For me to be like super excited, super clear. And then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, why did it take me like the last year and a half of kind of thinking about this when this is what I wanted to do? But that is the growing up in a business, in any. So
yes.
Thank you so much. If you can say one thing to a coach, which I know you even said, like, hey guys, if I can tell you, but one just kind of conclusion, please focus on this, or whatever calls to you at this moment, what would it be?
I would really, it's all in what you say as well, as really know the internal and the external of your ideal client. And if that means free calls with them to communicate that, do that. And then also don't be afraid to bait a lunch, and I think that's where you learn. I think it's do it, leap. And then I'm sure, it's like, then the chute opens. Right. And so we have to, we need to get better at leaping. And so, because the world needs us.
Guys, hear that. Got to get better at leaping. Thank you, Katrina, so much. You always have a smile, and it's just to hear such like raw honesty about business and what it takes and not the fluff. And I do love, you picked some like really key people to follow. And I think
Yes.
that's where it's also really important. When I was looking at people of my mentors, I was like, I can't look at everyone because everyone has a different way. Who calls to me personality wise, or even the opposite personality? What can I learn from that person? But to really like just stay focused, try one thing, as you said, test it, beta test it. And then as you did with the challenge to the video series, try something else, see what you really like.
Right. Well, you were my heart mentor. So, we all followed all the big names out there, but there was nobody that spoke my health coaching language. And, so once I like discovered you, I was like, okay, now I can figure out how to be an entrepreneur as a health coach, and you spoke my language, and that's, so yeah, you're
thank you, lady. So guys, like I said, if you need Katrina or you want to check out what she's doing, please do not hesitate and do not wait on the sidelines. I think that's what I heard. Just check out those things that maybe don't fit, continue to rework them. So thank you so much. I am wishing you so much greatness for the January launch. And thank you so much, lady.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. If you have any questions about Katrina, just let us know, but you will definitely have the details in this video as well. See you later.